Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is the Casual Sports Fan. So earlier today, the Suns fired Frank Vogel. They went 49-33 during the regular season, finished as the 6th seed in the West, but ended up getting swept in the first round by the Minnesota Timberwolves. Vogel's one of the few active head coaches that has a championship ring as a head coach. He won one in 2020 with the Los Angeles Lakers, and he went to a couple Eastern Conference Finals with the Pacers back in the day. We'll probably hear more stories in the coming days and weeks about why this pairing of Frank Vogel and the Suns' Big Three didn't work, but it probably just came down to the fact that they got swept in that first round series against a really Timberwolves team. This year the West was really tough and they just ended up drawing a really difficult team in the first round. While 49-33 isn't a bad year for most teams, the Suns had super high expectations this year, and that's what happens when you go all in like they have in the last year and a half since Matt Ishbia took over. Obviously they made the big Kevin Durant trade, and he's been good with them, but he's getting up there in age now in his mid-30s. KD only probably has 2 or 3 more good years left in him. LeBron's kind of ruined this for aging athletes by looking so good at age 39 and in year 21, but for a lot of guys they break down sooner. KD's also done an amazing job of taking care of his body, even through some of the serious injuries he's had. So the Suns can still cling to the fact that they got KD, Booker, and Bradley Beal, but you look at that Timberwolves series and some of the other teams in the West and you just wonder if they can compete with these teams. Obviously Minnesota's better, Denver's still there, OKC's rising, and you gotta think about Dallas with Luka and Kyrie. I've heard some people suggest that the Suns blow it up and trade one of their superstars, but Bradley Beal has basically no value with the contract that he has. Devin Booker's the franchise player and the guy that's been in Phoenix the longest. I don't think they want to trade him because he's still young and could work with a rebuilding team, so the guy they would have to trade is KD. The only problem with that is you mortgaged your entire future for him a year and a half ago, and now you're not going to get as much back as what you gave up for him. If you were to look on the positive side of things, you could look at a team like Minnesota, who pretty much didn't make any changes from their team from last year. They just got everyone healthy and on the same page, and went from a team that lost in the first round of the playoffs to where they're at right now. So you could say maybe with a different coach and the talented roster that we have, that they could form a better system, and that maybe next year could be their year. The big question with that is, who are they going to get to replace Frank Vogel? So far from what I've seen in the news, it looks like they're probably going to be going after Mike Budenholzer. Mike Budenholzer doesn't seem like a bad coach. He obviously won a title in 2021 with Milwaukee, but is he a better coach than Frank Vogel? I know he's always had a good system offense, but he doesn't really make adjustments, has always been the big flaw with Mike Budenholzer. They may have a better regular season, especially with more continuity between their team, but I don't know if that's going to translate to them moving further in the playoffs. If they were to go for a veteran head coach, I would honestly recommend Kenny Atkinson. I thought he did a really good job on the Nets back when he was their coach and deserves a second chance in the league. Chris Quinn is an assistant with the Heat who has been linked to some jobs this summer as the new up-and-comer coach. And then you got a guy like Sam Cassell, who's been a top assistant for a lot of the good playoff teams in the East the last few years and is deserving of a chance to probably get his own shot as a head coach, being a good player in his own right. Another question I have is, are head coaching candidates going to even want the Phoenix Suns job? You look at a team that has Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, and that seems crazy to say, but their salary cap situation is absolutely awful, and you pretty much just have to go with the team that's assembled right now because you're not going to be able to make many changes outside of those role players. And you look at the drafts in the upcoming years, and they've pretty much given away all their picks through either just trading them straight out or pick swaps that are going to different teams in the coming years, all the way through 2030 pretty much. So if a coach is taking over, you're just going to be dealing with these veteran guys. You don't have a chance to add young players to this team, other than like 2 second-round picks that they have. Matt Ishbia has certainly left his mark on this team in the last year and a half, and not in a good way. With all the teams nowadays trading so many draft picks and giving out these huge contracts to players that maybe aren't at that superstar level, I've been wondering if there's going to be a team that's going to put themselves in such a bad situation that they're just going to be awful for a decade and not be able to do anything about it because they traded away their future. The Suns may be that team, and that's sad to say considering just 3 years ago this team had a promising young core and was playing in the NBA Finals. Who knows, maybe a head coach will turn this around, but I don't think it looks good for the outlook of this Phoenix Suns team. Thanks for watching, and let me know who you think they should hire down in the comments.